guys, Meru here, and welcome to another episode of Meru's Cosplay Showcase. So today I'm going to be talking about my Miqo'te that I built, I think this was not this past NDK, but NDK 2014 is what I built this for, and this is a Miqo'te from Final Fantasy XIV in a full vestment robe, so a conjurer. I played a little bit of Final Fantasy XIV and really liked it. And unfortunately, at the same time, we were playing WoW, so I didn't really want to pay for, you know, like 2 subs to 2 games. So, played it for a little bit. Never actually got to the point where I got the Vespa robes for my character, but I had seen them and I liked them so much. I was like, you know what? I'm going to build those for cosplay. So this costume was actually the first one that I ever sewed completely on my own from a pattern, and it shows. It very much shows that it was done by me. Very much yeah, and pieces are going to fall off of it right now because the belt is actually not going to stay on. I knew that was going to happen. So we're going to start from the top here, and I'm just going to show you guys the hat. This is the Conjure hat, so it's very much like a witch's wizard style hat. This entire thing is built, this is foam. The actual like structure of it is it's double layered foam, like the sheets you can get at a craft store like Joann Fabrics or Hobby Lobby, just the foamies or whatever they're called. All foam that I then covered in material. So you can see in here is the foam, and then I covered it with the material, so some of the material kind of covers up on the top there. All foam. I made this first in I used like poster board kind of to get the overall, to test the overall effect, and then just kind of went for it with foam. So it's just covered. You can see how it's kind of, you know, you can see where it's covered, and then I glued the pieces together. Then this is just like faux leather that I used for the, it's coming up. Again, you're going to see a theme in these cosplays is that I don't store them properly and stuff, so they kind of start to come apart a little bit, but all foam, faux leather for the, I don't know what you call that, the belt of the hat, I guess you want to say. And then I stitched the little stitches to make it look like it was a stitched together hat. And then this, the buckle, and this little accent piece here are just craft foam, thicker craft foam that I then painted with, this is actually Rub and Buff is what this kind of paint is called. It gives you that nice kind of metallic-y gold. You can get it in different finishes. You can get it in copper, gold, silver, you know, black, whatever kind, and it's a really good paint because it gives it like a nice finish. So this is just the hat that I of course then wear on my head. It's very big and oversized because that's the look of the character. One thing I noticed about this is that when taking pictures it casts a really big shadow on my face. So that was kind of a bummer. I didn't really think about that for pictures and stuff, but I wanted the oversized. It's very, I mean, if you can see, it's a very large oversized hat. So it has the stitching on the other side as well. Just, you know, I kind of winged it. I very much winged this entire costume because I didn't really know what I was doing as far as really sewing and stuff. So it's just, I wung it. I winged it. But I think it came out pretty nice. I really like the hat. I really like the hat. So, hat. The rest of the costume, I guess I can bring the camera, I'm going to bring it a little bit closer. Sorry for the state of our craft room. If you want to see our craft room right now, it's just like helicopters and crafting stuff and junk everywhere because it's like prep season for making stuff for cons, so it's going to be a mess. So I'm going to bring you in. I'm going to take this away so you can't really see me. This is entirely made, kind of give you a view of the whole thing here. And there's my belt on the floor because it doesn't work anymore. It doesn't stay together. This is entirely made. I sewed it completely myself. So I kind of took 2 robe patterns. I'll kind of come out here so you can see. I took 2 different robe patterns. And when I say robes, I mean like dressing robes. The kind of robes people wear in winter when you get out of the shower. I took 2 robes and I kind of fit them together. So you can see that here it has the Velcro in here, where it would stick to the other side so it can close, kind of drapes over, and then I have a belt that goes across to hold it closed. But it's 2 robes put together, so here's one robe where, you know, it kind of folds over, and I modified these patterns greatly. And then it has an overlayer that comes over it. Sorry if I'm not showing this very well. Our room is very messy and it's a very small room to begin with, so. I kind of hand crafted this collar, and in the Vespa robes they have these little patterns cut out in the collar, which I basically just cut. If you can see close up. Not the best job, I know, and then kind of glued it down. It worked. From afar it looked really nice, but just cut the pattern all around the robe, the collar here, which this desperately needs to be steamed or ironed, which I guess I could have done that before the video, but I didn't. So all these little, so it's a darker color underneath that I layered inside and just kind of layered and put over. The sewing on this is atrocious. I'm not gonna lie. I know everybody's like, no, you do good work and you shouldn't be so critical. I winged it, and the sewing is not fantastic. I'm going to admit that. I really just, you know, in the 12th hour was like, you know what, it's good enough. Let's just go with it. And so you can see, like, it has all this Velcro and stuff that holds it together. Velcro holds it together, and then it's just, you know, it's just the basic robes inside. You can see where I sewed it together and everything, and then it just kind of folds over. All these accent pieces here, like this, all foam. In hindsight, if I were gonna do it again or remake it, I would probably do these in something like Warbler, or maybe cast them so they're a little bit more sturdy, but these are all just accent, all made out of foam, all painted with the rub and buff that I said before. You know, on the sleeve here, I've got these little accent pieces, also foam and all that, on the outer sleeve, and then on the inner sleeve, and then the outer sleeve kind of, ooh, sorry. The outer sleeve is supposed to kind of fan out, so I just made these cuffs, and they kind of fan out a little bit. So I was pretty proud of this, and the fact that it was the first thing I ever sewed completely from scratch, 100% from scratch. Took patterns, figured it out, and threw it together. And it actually came out, you know, it came out pretty well. I'm going to admit, it was pretty nice for my first try. And then the bottom here even has these big, sorry, see if I can get a good angle, these big accent pieces on the bottom here that are just glued on. Same thing, all foam, all painted with the rub and buff. It's foam, you seal it with wood glue or basic school glue that's a little watered down. And you want to seal the foam, so because foam is very porous, if you do not seal it, the paint will suck right into it, and you'll see all these little like bubbles and all these little like pores of the foam. So you want to make sure you seal it really well. So I thought these were really cool. And then on the back here, let's see if we can flip her around. I have my tail, because she's a Miqo'te. So Miqo'te is a feline humanoid. So they have the tails, they have the ears, and then they have, of course, the little fangs. I have the fangs. I'm not going to put them on because I don't want to. And then on the back here, I even have the little accent piece. See if I can get a little further away, kind of show you guys. So the tail's just kind of like tacked on. And then the accent pieces, yeah. So that's the basic outfit. Down here I have, you know what? Let me put you guys back over here. Sorry. It's a lot harder to show this stuff off than I thought it would be, because it takes a lot of you being able to see it. So that makes it a little more difficult. And then I have a belt. She has a belt that has all these little, she has a little pouch that I made. The belt is actually made out of foam. I do not recommend ever making a belt out of foam. This is a 12th hour, kind of like burning the midnight oil, had to get it done, made out of foam. I would suggest leather if you can, buying belts. Even I looked for belts. I'm not a leather worker. I don't really know how to work with leather. I'm hoping to learn, but so I just kind of made a simple belt out of foam, which was a bad idea. But it has this little pouch with the little accent pieces. She carries flowers. So I have these flowers that I bought. They look remarkably like the ones in the game. And I just made this little kind of arrangement with the red and the white. Don't know what kind of flowers they are, so don't ask me because I don't know. And then all these little accent pieces, again, made out of foam, which is horrible because they bent. You can see the foam, and then painted them. And then a little accent piece. This is where the belt connects on the back. So this was, it was very much just winging it. I threw it together. I hoped that it would look okay, so you can get a better idea of the belt. And it turned out all right. Pieces fell off. Some of the pieces, let's see, me show you here. Some of the pieces here, she's got these little belts and decorations on the side. Oh, you can't see. No, sorry. Just gonna move you for a second. These little decorative belts in the front, and this one was supposed to go all the way over. It fell off. I made these little like bags. This goes on your arm. She has these little like, you know, herb bags because she's a conjurer, so she's a healer. So all these little like, you know, bags for stuff. This one on my arm. It's just a basic strap with some Velcro. Nothing too fancy. Took some little white fabric, made into a bag, wrapped a little red around it. Nothing too complicated or fancy. So, hi there. So, this one took me probably a little over a month with research and everything. Not knowing how to sew was a huge downfall for me with this one because it's a lot of cloth. It's just the robes, the hat, all the little details. I basically just wore these little gloves. I just had fingerless black gloves that I bought at a costume store. I don't even know. And so, you know, it's nothing too remarkable, but I'm pretty proud of it because first, completely hand sewn. I use a sewing machine, but you know, made from scratch. I found patterns, I modified them intensely. This obviously is not what a standard robe looks like. You know, they usually have little belts, they have shorter sleeves. I modified it a great deal to get this overall look. And so while it's maybe not the highest quality, I'm pretty proud of it because I figured it out. I was able to do it, figure it out. I didn't get too frustrated with it. I mean, I did get frustrated, but overall it was not the awfulest thing I've ever done. I realize that my staff still has the NDK. You can see how often that I wear these costumes because it still has the, when you go and you have to get your stuff piece bonded at a convention, they have to put a thing on it. So they put it right where my hand rests, but that's just annoying. So this is my staff, and I'll show you the top, but this is the overall staff. So this staff is PVC pipe, and then expanding foam, so insulation foam, carved down, and then paper mache over that to make it sturdy, and then painted, just spray painted with basic brown spray paint that you get at the hardware store. So it's supposed to look kind of like a branch. So it's got this little bit of a funky edge on it that I put. And it's got the brown, you know, I tried to make it look as much like a branch as I could. So you kind of just roughly carve the foam to give it a very organic look. And then all that. And then on top here is the flower, which is bent because it was sitting in the corner over here with my other staff. So the flower this is all foam. And then I found some like organzy like tulle and cut into little like petals. And then on the outside here, it's got this fancy little like silver, these little, I don't even know what they're called, just what's holding the flower to it. So organzy, and then embedded in it, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I might have to turn off the light because I really want you guys, I'm pretty happy with it. We found these little, yeah, I don't know if you're going to see it. So let me, you know what, let me just turn off this light right here real quick. There's another light, obviously, so it's not completely dark, but let's see. So it lights up. So this was basically a string of lights. You can kind of see the little bulb like here and here. A string of lights you get at a craft store that people usually drape, you know, on their mantelpieces around picture. Very small string of lights that I just kind of wrapped in there. And they kind of, you can just see them a little bit. You can see the little bulbs kind of peeking through. But it gives it a nice glow. And then down here is where the cords come out, the wiring and everything. So it goes all the way, the wiring goes all up through here and then out. They had a very long cord, and then Hubs added some wire to make it a little bit longer. So it goes all through the neck there and into this little box. And this I hid in my sleeve, and it just has like a little toggle switch here. So off, on. They don't pulse or anything. They don't do anything fancy because they're very basic lights that we just bought. But it makes it kind of glow a little bit to make it kind of feel ethereal. And that's kind of the purpose of the conjure. So let me turn the light back on. Sorry, I know, guys, I'm so like up and down and over here. And let me know like if you enjoy these. I know they're a little kind of all over the place. and I'm like moving the camera and over here and turning off the lights and stuff, but this is how I know to show off my stuff with the setup that I currently have. I'm not a professional by any means. I don't have a studio. As you can see, this is just our office, and it's very full of crafting stuff. This is where we do our hobbies, so I'm kind of making it work the best I can, so sorry if it's a little like all over the place. But so basic staff, it's just a giant flower. It stands, I guess it's about as tall as I am. I'm about 5'6", so it's about as tall as I am. It's a pretty big staff, you know, just to give you like an idea. So it's just supposed to look kind of like a branch. That's the end of it. Nothing too spectacular or fancy. But I like it. You know, it's lightweight. It was very easy to carry around all the day. And then the battery pack has this actually is sticky, so it would kind of stick inside my sleeve. It's going to be less sticky now that I'm like touching it. But this battery pack is a little heavy. I would have preferred something smaller. Had we had figured out how to do that better, Hubs probably would have wired me something a little bit less bulky because it's very large. But this is how these come when you just buy them, which I never understand how such a small string of lights needs such a huge, heavy battery pack. But you know, that's not my department. That's not what I am in charge of, figuring stuff out. So I'm gonna put that right there. So that is the, you know what? It's going to fall over, so I'm just going to put it like right here at my feet. Sorry. So that's basically the Miqo'te. I don't know if I'm giving you guys enough information. I don't know if you care to have more on exactly how I built it. This one was very straightforward. I got 2 patterns at Joann's. I got one for, it was, actually, no, I didn't buy them at Joann's. I got them on Etsy, Etsy.com, for super cheap. People sell patterns and all kinds of handmade stuff, patterns and vintage jewelry, steampunk stuff, all kinds of things on Etsy. So you guys should check it out if you're interested. But you can often find patterns on there for super cheap because people will buy them in bulk and then they'll sell them for like, you know, pennies. So it was a woman's dress robe and then actually a man's for the over one because I needed one that was like a little bit bigger. And they just happened to have the styles that I think that I thought at the time I could work with. So it's nothing too in-depth. Again, it took me about a month with research and everything. There's a lot more that could have been done to it because the Vespa robes have a lot of detail. I just kind of cut things as I thought I had time and pretty much just what I felt comfortable with making. So I just went with what I had. And so not super fancy. But a high level of detail, and again, I was just super proud because I sewed this by myself. While it may not be, you know, like store production quality, I was really proud of it. So that's basically it. Super proud of it. Super proud of the hat. I'd never made a hat before. I didn't even know how to go about it, and I kind of just went with it, and I think it came out really cool with the point and everything. I think it was pretty nice. They always say like artists are your own worst critic. You yourself will critique you harder than anybody else ever would. So I'm a perfectionist and I over critique myself. But you know, when I look back on what I've done, I'm like, you know, that wasn't so bad. Like, it was pretty good. So thank you guys for being so kind. You guys have offered kind comments on my first video with Scarecrow, and that really means a lot because this kind of makes me nervous. Putting myself out there and showing you guys my stuff like really up close, even though I wear these to conventions, obviously, the fact that I'm really showing you it in full detail and kind of showing you what's wrong with it a little bit, you guys are a lot more vocal. You YouTube and Twitter people are a lot more vocal than anybody has ever been to me at a con, so I worry a little bit that you're gonna be like, wow, you know, that's nice, but you know, you maybe should have. And while I take constructive criticism, it always makes you a little nervous that people are going to be like, wow, that's really ugly. And then I'm putting it out on YouTube and putting it on the internet, and then there's just that many more people to judge me. So, yeah. So, long story short, thank you guys for being so great. Sorry, I'm kind of rambling, but this is Final Fantasy XIV Miqo'te Conjure in full Vespa robes. If you guys want to see more pictures and stuff of like maybe the making process, you know, if you're interested in exactly what this hat looked like before it had fabric all over it, or the robes before they had all the stuff, or the actual individual pieces, you can always go to my Facebook page. I know Facebook. I know I can hear the groans of people that are like, Facebook. But that's where all my pictures are. I don't have a DeviantArt and all that stuff, so Facebook it is, because that's what I started with. So go over in the comment section description below. There are links to my Facebook page. There's a whole album that shows you kind of work in progress pictures of this costume in particular. So go over and check that out if you're interested. If not, that's also totally fine. If you enjoyed this video and if you're enjoying this short series so far, please like the video so I know. Comment if you have any questions whatsoever. And if you're looking forward to more, subscribe, because that would be awesome. Next up is going to be, I think we're going to do Sailor Hawkeye. I'm kind of trying to get some of my easier costumes to explain out of the way before I get to the fairy, because she's going to be a 2-parter episode. So yeah, so look forward to more. And until then, you know, I hope you all are having a fantastic day. Bye!